Hello, Gold Derbyites. Welcome back to another edition of Awards Magnet. Coming off the BAFTAs and looking ahead to the Actor Awards this weekend. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter, joined as always by our stellar film team, Senior Editors Mia McNeese and Kevin Sullivan. Welcome both. It's been an eventful weekend and an eventful week ahead.
Yeah, the BAFTAs really threw us for a loop this last weekend.
Seriously, I think I remember I think the Slack the evening that it happened, there was just a lot of exclamation points popping up over and over again with each announcement, and that's leaving aside the big news of the evening, which we won't get into too much here because it's not awards, Jason. But certainly the BAFTAs had their own controversy. Then the fallout for that has been ongoing and will continue probably for the next few weeks as they figure out how to respond to the situation involving the I swear subject and the sinners team. It's an unfortunate situation all around. Certainly a stain on that award ceremony. But yes, we're going to look beyond that and just speak to mainly about the impact on the awards race and the actor awards and the Oscar race. Certainly, the big takeaway I think is just what BAFTA's meant for supporting actor and supporting actress. Those supporting categories were major surprises, and again, that's where a lot of the exclamation marks in the Slack room I think came from, especially when Sean Penn won supporting actor, someone who had not been seemed to be a factor at all anymore. Yeah, what were you surprised when Sean Penn's name was read on Night of?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I mean, this is Sean Penn's first ever BAFTA for One Battle After Another, and I wasn't expecting it. And now it's made the race kind of even more up in the air. I think, each of these actors has won something somewhere. They're really kind of spreading the love this year. We had, Jacob Elordi kind of came out first with the Critics' Choice Awards for Frankenstein, and then Stellan took the Golden Globe, for Sentimental Value, and now Penn, the BAFTAs. We're just kind of all over the place, and it's really going to be interesting to see what happens at the Actors Awards on Sunday. If it goes to Benicio, then that, throws everything up in the air. So it's like everyone, you get an award, everyone's getting one, but it's not really helping us decide who's going to get the Oscar.
Kevin, what went through your mind when Sean won?
It was interesting. It felt like that we had almost time traveled back to right around the time that One Battle was starting to screen, and Sean Penn was dominating the conversation of just, obviously it was a very showy, very funny performance. And I think the way that he's faded is a result of the season kind of just going on and on, but not really a reflection of the work itself. And so I think it was a good reminder that it is a really striking performance in a Best Picture frontrunner. And I think writing him out because of narratives around him as a personality, him as for his award history, just because of how much goodwill Benicio has at the moment. I think that may have been a little premature. I don't know how much that's actually going to impact the Oscars, which, as we're recording, has just started voting. But it does make things look a lot more interesting. We have, from the look of it, it's solidly three really interesting acting races, and I think the big thing we're looking for at the Actor Awards, as we all call them, is some kind of clarification for who's really in the lead. Is anyone in the lead, or is this just going to get thrown further into doubt?
And certainly one of the big potential conflicts for Penn in the Oscar race is that he's been on the record, as we've talked about before, saying he's going to smelt his former Oscars. So there's not a lot of love lost for him in terms of talking about the Oscars and what they represent. So we'll see if that is held against him at all by more American voters, or again, if just the strength of the performance overcomes that. It like his approach to campaigning is certainly very Sean Penn, very unique. I don't know if any other actor could get away with it, but if it works in his favor, it would be amazing to see.
Maybe Wunmi Mosaku has to come out and say that the Oscars suck, and we'll see. We'll see how that helps her odds.
Anti-campaigning is going to be the way to the future. It was nice to see Wunmi win. I was there at the Gotham Awards when she won her first award of the season, which was a great moment in the room. Again, it was a big surprise there. No one expected Sinners to get that particular award. It was a supporting performance category, so both men and women were nominated for that award, and she emerged victorious. It was the first sign that she had significant support, and sure enough, she ended up with an Oscar nomination. So it was nice to see that confirmed again. That the Sinners effect very much is working in favor with some of these actors, and she's just she's a delightful personality. So seeing her win was a nice surprise that night. Mia, were you also happy to see Wunmi's success?
Yeah, and I think the most heartwarming, moment of the night came when she was backstage after her win, answering questions, and then she found out that Ryan Coogler had just won his BAFTA and literally just was like so caught off guard, so excited, and just you could just see the real emotion coming through. She kind of teared up and then, kind of stopped answering questions about herself and just started talking about him and what a great team player he was. And it was just like a really touching honest moment at the BAFTAs that I think stuck with a lot of people.
Her presence in the kind of this award season is really heartening because it's someone who's been doing consistently really good work. Stealing scenes, across big movies, small movies, Marvel universe, and it's a really emotional, very vulnerable performance in a vampire movie. That it's great to see it acknowledged because I think a more cynical take on these awards, especially looking at BAFTA, it's not a win you can easily see coming.
Yeah, and this then becomes a similar situation we were just talking about where, Tiana Taylor won the Golden Globe, Amy Madigan won the Critics' Choice, and now Wunmi wins the BAFTA. So it's like everyone has won something. Not everyone, but, they're kind of spreading out, which throws everything up in the air for when we get to the Actors Awards and when we get to the Oscars.
It makes it fun to follow, but tough to predict, I think is the way to say it. Complicates our lives as prognosticators for them to spread the wealth. I think certainly one thing that jumped out at me, I was most surprised maybe by Sentimental Values, relatively weak performance given all its nominations. It won International Feature, but none of the actors won, and especially Stellan Skarsgård. That's a significant loss to have because the assumption has been that the European voters who would be represented at BAFTA would really be behind him in the Best Supporting Actor race. But the fact that they went elsewhere was really striking to me. So I do wonder, does that cast Sentimental Values Oscar potential in doubt? Do you have any feeling on that, Kevin, in terms of where Sentimental Value now stands in the race?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always had a kind of a hard time applying BAFTA logic to the Oscars, and I don't know if I see this as any kind of negative headwind for that movie. This is just an even it's an even smaller slice of the filmmaking community, and yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really see this as too many warning signs flashing yet.
Although certainly it seems like Secret Agent fans are definitely taking it as an example. I've already seen on certain pockets of film Twitter saying, "Oh, Neon's putting all their resources behind Secret Agent now. That's the one to win." So and that's the tough thing when you're a distributor like that, where you have all these movies in the mix and you're trying to figure out which is the one most likely. So it'll be curious to see that race is already known to be very tight between Sentimental Value and Secret Agent.
Yeah, if I was Stellan, I would have definitely brought a speech to the BAFTA Awards. I mean, I thought that was going to be a sure thing for him, and it definitely wasn't. So it was a surprise.
And as we'll discuss at the Actor Awards, none of the Sentimental Value actors are nominated there, so they won't even be a factor, and therefore we can't get a sense of how the SAG feels about that movie because they're not even nominated. And maybe that's a reflection of how they feel about it, the fact that none of them made the final cut. So, but that'll definitely factor into as we talk about those races. I guess the other big snub that we should mention is Marty Supreme going 0 for 11. Didn't win a single thing, and certainly the big takeaway was Timothée Chalamet losing to the I Swear star, Robert Aramayo from Game of Thrones. That was a big upset, and I think a lot of people, again, were not expecting it. Mia, when you saw that happen, were you shocked?
That is when the most exclamation points went in the Slack room for Gold Derby for sure. I think that was a big shock. And now he is also tumbling in the Gold Derby Actor Awards odds, after Sunday's loss. So we are seeing some ramifications from that loss. And it was just very surprising because I don't think a lot, especially for us, here, we're not as familiar with, I swear, and the performance there, as I know they are across the pond. So I think it was even more shocking for us over here.
Yeah, it doesn't actually come out here till April. So we've got some time.
Yeah, we were like, what is happening? Yeah.
Well, we're all very familiar with Lord of the Rings of Power, where Robert
I
Aramayo
will tell you,
plays
no one though
Elrond.
I don't think anyone on the planet was more shocked than Robert himself. I mean, he got on stage and he was like, "What is happening? There's Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, I'm here. I don't understand this." So he was equally as shocked.
He gave a really wonderful speech, I thought. The shout out to Ethan Hawke was really beautiful. Some good work from the lip reading community on social media saying, clocking Ethan Hawke saying this is better than winning. Yeah, really, really sweet.
It's almost like he did the Julia Roberts of the Golden Globes thing because he's not eligible for Best Actor this year. So he's like giving a little dap to Ethan Hawke, saying, "Everyone, go watch Blue Moon." This is,
And he said backstage, like he said that he genuinely meant it. Like it really, if when Ethan came and spoke at Juilliard, it really affected him and his classmates, and like the speech stayed with him. And he said, like, I didn't know if I was going to get a chance to meet Ethan and speak to him, so I was like, I'll just say it on stage so that he makes sure he hears it.
It will be interesting. I mean, certainly Marty Supreme has factored into all the races. It's been nominated for everything. It hasn't put a lot of wins on the board necessarily outside of Timothée Chalamet. So it does speak to maybe that's one of those movies that winds up perennially nominated, less so winning. And certainly at BAFTAs, it's a very American story, so maybe that's part of it. But it is interesting to me that the movie, for all the positive notices, it hasn't made much of an impact on outside of Timothy.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've noted here, but if he does win, it would be the first history. I mean, he'd be the first in history of the Actors Award to win back to back because he won for A Complete Unknown. So it would be kind of an exciting moment, but I don't know if the momentum will get him there on Sunday.
Yeah, I think we'll see it. I think as Marty Supreme's path through the awards season kind of goes on, we are seeing. I think just some of that film's more difficult spots maybe coming up against it. As we saw with the previous Safdie movie, or the Safdie Brothers, the last Safdie Brothers movie, Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler not getting in the Best Actor at the Oscars, which seemed crazy to people who knew that movie and loved it. There does seem to be these two kind of forces of the outsized personality of Timothée Chalamet and his star persona, and then also, some seeming reluctance to really embrace the movie in a big way. We'll see. I mean, this all could be wide speculation, and he could go to a Best Actor Oscar win. But the precursors right now, yeah, like you were saying, aren't looking very good for Marty Supreme. But yeah, he's just an American hero, and I think it's a hard thing to be right now.
Ping Pong Wizards is a hard status to live up to, but he's doing this exactly. Well, it's interesting, just on the BAFTA history note, when I was looking at sort of how they match up with Oscars, BAFTA has matched the Best Actor race with the Oscars 9 out of 10 times for the past 10 years. And the only off year was Austin Butler winning over Brendan Fraser back in for 2022 for Elvis Over the Whale. Otherwise, they've matched up. This year, again, they won't match up because Robert Aramayo, as you said, won't be eligible until next year's Oscars. So this is another year where we're not going to see that precursor match, which is interesting. But also, just on the subject of movies that are maybe living up to their full potential, Hamnet also, again, I thought maybe if it was going to win Best Film Anywhere, and it did win Best British Film at the BAFTAs, but I thought maybe it would sneak into Best Film as well, as sort of the alternative to the American-led One Battle After Another, because BAFTA has zigged that way when others have zagged in the past, whether it was Conclave last year or All Quiet on the Western Front a few years ago. Sometimes they do focus on made in Europe productions, but it's clear that Hamnet, at least Jessie Buckley did win, but it seems like Hamnet isn't going to translate outside of that acting category. It's going to be that also ran.
This year they zigzagged like so crazy that it was just like nothing's gonna match up.
All right, well, let's dive into the Actor Awards. This is going to air on Sunday, and now that we have the BAFTAs as precursors, we can get a sense maybe of how SAG is thinking. Maybe not. Maybe again we'll be in for another night full of exclamation points in the Slack. Let's start with Best Actress because that definitely does seem to be the most settled race. Jessie Buckley has mostly led all award season. Rose Byrne has upset here and there, and this will be the big test if Jessie Buckley wins at from SAG for the actor for the Film Actors Award. She basically has it locked up. I am going to just as a last maybe upset. I am putting Rose Byrne at number one just because I like rooting for the dark horse, and I could see a guild like SAG embracing this performance that's so focused, so much the centerpiece of that movie, in the same way that Jessie is for hers. But I think especially Rose Byrne has just such a difficult task, and I can see actors really appreciating the work she puts into it. So I'm going with the upset victory here, even though I acknowledge that Jessie most likely has this sewn up. Are you two going to take the plunge? Do you think you might predict Rose?
I'm just surprised you didn't pick Amanda Seyfried for your favorite film, even though
She's
she's
a writer. Yeah,
exactly. No matter what, you go back to her always. So Rose makes sense. I am not going to take the plunge with that. I think everything is still pointing to Jessie, and I think that she will win it on Sunday. But I would be delighted for Rose if she did get it, and I think it's a fantastic role. But I still think all signs point to Jessie.
Yeah, I'm with Mia. I'm not there yet. You have an opportunity to make a really big bet on this, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. I think that the precursor is just very strong with Jesse, and I think we might see some. If there's potential for surprises, but I think it's might be elsewhere.
Right, as opposed to this. I mean, it's great that Rose has made it this far. I remember when I first saw If I Had Legs back in the fall, I was like, oh, this is a really tough movie. I just don't know if it's going to get seen widely enough. I know she's really liked in the industry, but it's a tough to sit through. So the fact that she has made it this far and has racked up a nice treasure trove of wins is really great. So if nothing else, that's a really good sign that good work in challenging movies really can be seen and rewarded.
Yeah, 100% agree. Love to see it in there. Love to see her, near the conversation that, Ethan's making the call right now. But yeah, Jesse does kind of feel like a hard one to stop right now.
But hey, every time there's an upset, you get those double odds. You can go pay off for a cabin in Canada and join the heated rivalry boys up there. So that's what I'm banking on.
Somehow we brought in heated rivalry. No matter what, that's like our new goal. No matter what we're discussing.
That's right. Always make sure to reference heated rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. Rose Byrne, heated rivalry. They go together.
All right. Well, let's turn our attention now to films supporting actress, where we have Amy Madigan has sort of been the presumed front runner, but that race has definitely been thrown into flux with all the different ways people have gone. I still have her at number one, and part of that is having attended an FYC event where the actors in the room just clearly loved her, and the way she spoke to them about being a jobbing actor, the whimsy that comes with that, the difficulty that comes with that, really resonated in the room. And so the fact that she has hit that point everywhere she's been, I've been in this business a long ass time, roles like this don't come along every day, that really speaks to actors. I could see it really resonating with the SAG branch as a result. So she's my number one still, but the Wunmi factor is also very strong, and she's sort of maybe creeping up over Teyana in my picks. How about for both of you? Where are you going?
I'm with you on Amy. I think this is the kind of last piece of puzzle that's going to make Oscar night for supporting actress, I think, really, really interesting. I feel like you're saying, yeah, I think you have SAG after kind of rewarding a veteran. I'm imagining Amy Madigan at the FYC events very much like her character in Field of Dreams at the town meeting, being like, "All right, America." But yeah, I think she's kind of this infectious presence, and it's such a wild swing that does feel like is the kind of thing that I think the actor might reward.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember when I spoke to her on the nominations for Oscars morning, and she really kind of spoke a lot about how long her career has been and how long she's been doing this for. And I think that longevity will really work in her favor when you're surrounded by everyone in your guild, and fellow actors know what went into that role and how challenging it was. And I do think that she will be pleasantly surprised at the Actors Awards on Sunday.
And it would help put to rest the idea that horror performances can't win. Certainly, Wunmi's success has shown that as well. That the right horror role, the right performer, is a great is a path to an award.
Do we think that they're gonna do that intro that they always do, where they have people look straight in the camera and say, "And I'm an actor"? That's what I want to know the odds on that one.
I love it. We should have.
There's a pretty good chance. They're not like really taking chances like Kristen Bell's back. Like I don't really feel like they're going out on the edge. They're probably going to stick to their familiar pattern.
We should start this. We should have started this podcast with, and I'm a podcaster.
We get where the actors are coming from. We have the
yeah.
Right, yeah, no, we totally get where it's the same level. Well, we should talk about Teyana Taylor though, because we haven't mentioned her in this race. Is she, in your mind, the obvious number 2 to Amy, or do you have Wunmi as your number 2 based on the BAFTA as a precursor?
Yeah, I don't have an obvious number 2 for this, because I think that they both, Teyana won the Golden Globe, but then Wunmi won the BAFTA. And they both give amazing performances. I honestly think it will be Amy, but then like if I were to pick a number 2, I couldn't. Like I would flip a coin, because I think they're both equally deserving. They've equally, gotten accolades. It would be really hard to decide which of those two would take the second spot.
Yeah, I do have Teyana there in number 2. I do think momentum is with her right now. It's very possible that this is just another stop on her way to the Oscar. I think things are kind of lining up for her in a way that do look really good. But I think with BAFTA just so close in the hinds and in the rear view, it's there is a lot of room for shakeup here.
And it'll show a reflection of One Battle's strength on individual performances. We've seen how it's performed well as Paul Thomas Anderson's film. He's been very much rewarded. The film as a whole has been rewarded. The actors, it can go either way. So if they do pick out Sean Penn or Benicio and Teyana, that'll show that there's that they do recognize the individual performances in addition to the collective effort, and that's I think that's something they've been struggling with, stepping aside from just being seen as a complete package and being able to really honor the individual performances as well. Well, let's move on to Best Supporting Actor, where we have definitely, again, a race that's been thrown into flux thanks to BAFTA. I think a lot of people presume Sean Penn was at the bottom of the rankings. I have reshuffled him now. I now am of number 4 with Paul Mescal at the bottom. But I still don't quite see him winning this. I still think that we're going to see a potential one battle split between him and Benicio as people decide where to go, and that opens the door for either Jacob or Miles Caton from Sinners and Jacob Elordi from Frankenstein. I'm currently going with Jacob Elordi. I think our colleague Marcus James Dixon just wrote a great piece suggesting why he could be the Mahershala Ali of this year, in the same way that Mahershala won for Moonlight. And so he made a very persuasive case. So I currently have Jacob creeping up there and sitting at number 1. I might still change before Sunday, but I like the case he made for it. Where are you thinking for what's your number 1 pick right now, Kevin?
I'm with you. I think Jacob Elordi is gonna be kind of representative of that. He really is kind of representative of that undersung Frankenstein power that movie has just really played with people, and he is such an obvious kind of up and coming star that it could be. Just kind of an anointing of, a little bit of manifesting on the part of the SAG of just trying to will a movie star into existence. Yeah, I don't know. This the Sean Penn at BAFTA does muddy the water a little bit about where the momentum is in terms of the One Battle nominees within supporting actor, but yeah, I am feeling the Jacob here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Sean and Benicio kind of split that one battle, and then Jacob can rise to the top spot.
Is that sort of how you're seeing, or do you have someone else at your number one right now?
No, I think that that could definitely happen. Yeah, I think that Jacob's my number one too, because I think that it will kind of, they're each going to kind of draw away, attention for the same film. So I think that Jacob could then come in and rise to the top, especially, I think, Ethan, you pointed out too, with Wuthering Heights in theaters right now. He's kind of on everyone's mind, front and center. So I don't know. I think it could be his night.
And Euphoria is coming back in April, so yeah, there's like the Jacob Elordi will continue throughout the rest of this year for sure. He'll be very present. Although the Miles Caton question is interesting. I mean, certainly Wunmi has been the main beneficiary of the Sinners in supporting actor races, but Miles also makes a big impression in that film. It feels like maybe he's a little too new on the block for SAG to give him the award right now, but it would be a huge upset if he were to win. And then I'm not ruling it out completely, and it certainly would be. They do like to reward, as you said, Mia, the next generation of talent. So maybe that is Miles instead of Jacob in their minds.
What about Paul? Maybe Paul will get some of that too. Let's not forget Paul. That was an amazing performance.
Yes, no, it's true. I think it is funny how Paul Mescal, even BAFTA can't give an award to their own Shakespeare. Then it just feels like, oh, okay, maybe not this year.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, let's move on to film actor. As we were alluding to earlier, this is going to be the make or break night for Timothée Chalamet's hopes as well, I think. And certainly one factor potentially going against him, as we mentioned earlier, he won last year for the Bob Dylan film, so it's rare for an actor to win twice back to back, especially a young actor like Timothy. So, what do we think? Do we think that he's going to be one to break this curse of back to back wins for young actors not being possible? Mia, are you still sticking with Timothy?
No, and I actually think the BAFTAs, even though he didn't win, who got the most help might be Ethan Hawke, who could take home this win. He is, again, as we spoke about Amy, like been in this industry forever, worked with everybody. He is campaigning so hard. The role was so much dialogue, so much work, that I think, he might take top prize. Again, Michael B. Jordan, Timothy, it's a really tough category. But I feel like maybe this is Ethan's night, when when there's fellow actors around him and they're the ones making the decision.
I think that for SAG to reward him for a complete unknown, I think it is a great performance, but I also think it kind of speaks to that body's that kind of approach to him, and whether there's always this kind of question of like with the bias against young actors, is someone as prominent and as big of a star as Timothée Chalamet, is that a knock against them? Is that a detractor from their odds? But I think seeing SAG embrace him for a role that he ultimately didn't win the Oscar for, and I think a role that's it's a bit showier, a bit more in your face, has greater range. I could see them going to him again. I still think he has Best Actor at the Oscars locked up, and despite a challenging road, but I think my guess is this is when that narrative starts to kind of really shape up, and we start to see a little bit more predictability going into Oscar night.
Yeah, no, certainly because the Oscar voters are beyond SAG, a loss at the Actor Awards won't necessarily rule him out completely. And he certainly is the biggest presence in terms of both public profile and the buzz around that movie and that performance. He leads all the contenders that way. Like he is Marty Supreme, and so you can't divorce the two. And if that movie wins anything, it's obviously going to be for him. So he is also still at my number one. But I have Ethan Hawke just outside at number two, and I was thinking, do I do the same Rose Byrne, Jesse Buckley bet and try and we bet on both underdogs and see what happens? But I in this one, I still think Timothy is likely to win. So I'm not flipping my going with the underdog thing here. Whereas Rose actually has some points on the board, and Ethan doesn't quite as much yet. So I'm not quite.
So maybe
sure.
I'll win the bet and get that cabin then.
There we go. We'll all be neighbors. We'll have our little cabin community up there. But Michael B. Jordan as the alternative is also interesting to contemplate. Again, just thinking about the sinners of it all and wanting to see people recognized for that film beyond Wunmi Mosaku in the acting categories. And I would love to see Michael's a huge part of that film as well. He plays two characters in it. And both performances are great and very distinct. So it would be very rewarding to see another actor. And like Ethan Hawke, he's been in the business for a long time. He started on The Wire as a child. He was on Friday Night Lights. So he's grown up in the industry and will continue to work for years ahead. So it would certainly be nice to sort of see this as a career recognition award. All right, let's jump to film ensemble, the big award of the night. Now, everyone here, interestingly, instead of One Battle, the odds have been picking Sinners instead. Even though all the precursor ceremonies have basically fallen to One Battle. So what's behind the Sinners' love for prognosticators at the Actor Awards? Kevin, what do you think it is that has set Sinners so far ahead of the competition?
I think it is. It speaks to, I mean, the love for that movie. It also has to do with, I think, the shape of it. The structure of it is just, it caters more to an ensemble. You're locked into one location for the big runtime of the movie. It is a true ensemble, and the bench is really, really deep. While One Battle is, top to bottom with great performances, more of those kind of drift into bit parts and really kind of one scene showstoppers. But I think Sinners, that feels more like an embodiment of what this award is, because this isn't Best Picture. This is film ensemble, and that to me, I think it's a reflection of looking at the top prize for these award shows through a slightly different lens. And I think maybe, just the kind of movie that Sinners is might be a little bit more conducive to this kind of honor.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the discrepancy in that it's so big, especially on the Gold Derby leaderboard. I think Sinners is way up, like 80% for film ensemble. Not that I don't think it's deserving. I'm just also think One Battle for ensemble is equally as impressive, especially given all the awards that One Battle after another keeps winning. I don't know if it's like too much star power, that it was kind of, they felt like Sinners is a little bit more of an actual ensemble. But I will be surprised to see. It looks like according to the site, it really looks like Sinners is going to take it.
It made me wonder what do the prognosticators know? What do the odds makers know? Like we've been watching from the outside, and we have seen just a slew of awards, especially the guilds for One Battle. So but it is interesting that this particular one, and I think Kevin, you make a good point that because it's a contained setting, it really does highlight the nature of the cast more than the sort of sprawling nature of One Battle, where you have lots of different pockets of characters inhabiting the frame.
I also wonder whether this is just a little bit of, in terms of the prognosticators, people wanting a more interesting Best Picture race, where, if One Battle were to win Best Ensemble, it'd just be like, oh yeah, okay, obviously, like it's won every Best Picture award, essentially so far. Like, why wouldn't it? And I think the strong favoritism towards Sinners, at least in the Gold Derby odds, I think you could probably break it down, not to psychoanalyze some of how these votes are going, but I think you could kind of break it down into those two reasons, where it is more of an ensemble piece, and let's make this thing a little bit more interesting.
And especially, I guess the other thinking could be if none of the individual actors from Sinners win their races, because certainly Wunmi isn't a lock, Miles isn't a lock, Michael isn't a lock. So if none of those individual actors win, Sinners does win Best Cast, and then it gets a victory, and that way it's acknowledged, and because people do love the film, it's the passion for it is real. So that's the way it gets rewarded, is through the Best Cast award. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how things play out on Actor Awards. I will all be in the Slack sending emojis and exclamation points when each surprise happened. What in your mind, is there like one big surprise that you sort of have in the back of your head that you're anticipating, Neil? Like something on the level of an I swear. If you could pick one big surprise, what would it be?
Well, I don't know what's on the level, but I would be really surprised if Kate Hudson took it in the actress category. I don't think so. I still think it's going to be Jessie, but if people are split on Jessie and Rose because they've been kind of going head to head, and then Kate comes through, I think that would be a really big shock of the night. That would be like a surprise, but not a total like what just happened, because she has been building a lot of momentum. She has been campaigning. She is well liked in the industry. She has been working forever, so there's a lot of factors there that could be in her favor. So I think that would be the kind of the big surprise of the night if she got an award.
I'm gonna say, you know what? Let's get Leo up there. Like, I think that what we've been seeing from him, it's so interesting because he's in this movie that is dominant in the best picture. It's an unconventional lead role, where he just kind of skates alongside the movie that's actually happening. But I think we're just seeing the Leonardo DiCaprio syndrome again of like, it's not shocking when he's good and funny in a movie. Like, it's like no one's surprised. Like, it needs to be more outside the box when do you reward Leonardo DiCaprio? And I think with The Revenant we saw, it's like when he goes so extreme, it's such a physical performance, he's doing crazy stuff, and he's really good in the movie, and he's so essential to that movie's tone, the heart of it at the end, and he's under awarded, I think, historically. So why not? I think I could see it.
He falls off a roof. Isn't that enough, you guys? I mean,
right, exactly. Yeah.
I know it's not a fair. I mean, fair, whatever, but it's still a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. He still goes through it for sure.
Yeah.
At the very least, for him fanning his car out with the car door after he's smoking before the parent-teacher conference, like that, you award that.
You really do.
Well, I think my head just might explode if, after all the Wicked for Good drama we lived through, if Ariana Grande suddenly gets up there at the end of all of it and just says, "I told you, people, I knew I would win this." I'll be curious to see if she shows up. It seems like the Wicked team has basically left the building. But
honestly, for the way that the rest of the award season has shaken out, I think with Oscar nominations coming out since the Actor Awards were nominated or nominations were announced, it's honestly still kind of surprising to see her in there. Considering how thoroughly Wicked for Good has been ignored. like just the Oscars saying, we loved Wicked, and it ended, and that was it. There was no part two, and that was all.
Defying Gravity was it, right?
It ended. There was Defying Gravity. There was the timpani at the end. She flew off, and Wicked was over. But yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised you brought her up, but it's still surprising, and I think, the complete destruction of Wicked for Good on the award scene is something that could be studied years from now.
Ariana's just going to float by in a bubble over the ceremony and just like, see you later, people.
She's not even blonde anymore. Like it's over.
Right, exactly. It's in the past. But I think I will be genuinely shocked if Sean Penn wins this, because I feel like BAFTA is such an outlier, and if he does win, just based on the way he's been handling this whole award season, I will be genuinely shocked and be like, okay, anti-campaigning, that's the way to go, to bring it all back to that. Like this is the future model people can follow, is the Sean Penn approach to award season.
It's how people are going to take out their aggression on Sean Penn. It's like, oh, people don't like Sean Penn, he's difficult. Well, you know what? We're going to get revenge on him by giving him awards, something he hates.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Be sure to watch the Actor Awards on Sunday night on Netflix. Follow along with our coverage on Gold Derby. We'll be breaking down all the big events, surprises throughout the night. And then check back with us for our recap Awards Magnet at the end of next week, where we sort of cover how we did on our guesses on the Actor Awards night. Until then, happy predicting, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news, and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.